Do you have a high level of English proficiency? What about your English vocabulary skills? Would you say you have a strong grasp of advanced vocabulary that showcases your command of the English language? This video will give you that answer. I scoured the internet to find the top 12 words that every speaker of English should know. And when these essential vocabulary words are used correctly, they can demonstrate that you have excellent English skills. So get ready to find out if you have excellent English skills by testing your knowledge of these 12 essential vocabulary words. To do this vocabulary test, I'm going to show you a word on the screen. I want you to answer the following questions for each word. Number 1. What is the definition of this word? Number 2. Can you use this word in a sentence? If yes, please write a sentence now. Number 3. How do you pronounce this word? Number 4. How often do you encounter this word either in written English or when listening to people talking? And number 5. How often do you use this word in your own speech or writing? Your answers to these 5 questions will determine how proficient you are at English and how extensive your English vocabulary is at this moment in time. Highly proficient and skilled English users will most likely respond to these questions as follows. Number 1, they'll know the definition of the word and can say the definition out loud. Number 2, they can correctly use the word in a sentence and can write the sentence now. Number 3, they can pronounce the word clearly. Number 4, they encounter the word often in the things they read every day or the conversations they have every day. Number 5, they also use the word often in their own speech and writing. It's not enough to just recognize the word, to say, oh yes, I've seen that word before, or I've heard that word before. I'm sure that most of you will have seen these words before, but do you really know the words? Are these words part of your working vocabulary? To really know a word means you read it and hear it all of the time, that you frequently use that word in your own speech and writing, and that you can easily explain its definition to another person and use it in a sentence. So, are you ready to begin? Here's the first word. I'll give you a few minutes to answer these questions. This word is ambiguous. Ambiguous means the meaning is unclear or open to more than one interpretation. The instructions were ambiguous, leading to confusion. His response to the question was so ambiguous that no one could tell whether he agreed or disagreed with the proposal. The ending of the movie was intentionally ambiguous, allowing the audience to interpret it in different ways. Here is the IPA of the word ambiguous. Imitate after me in the pauses. Ambiguous. Da-da-da-da. Ambiguous. Da-da-da-da. Let's hear how other native speakers use this word in conversations.
Maybe progress will start at that point. That's number one. Number two, I'm asking you and I'm asking me to be the person specifically who blurs the lines, who's ambiguous, who's hard to classify.
Gen Z, that is people born after 1996 or so, Gen Z showed up on college campuses around 2014, and they brought with them very high rates of depression and anxiety. And if you're anxious, ambiguous things pop out at you as a threat.
Healthcare, other support that they need to realize their potential, so that's a drag on growth. There's some very ambiguous evidence about whether high income inequality hurts consumer demand. I'm not fully convinced of it myself.
Here is word number 2. I'll give you a few minutes to answer these questions. This word is consequence. Consequence means a result or effect of an action or condition. Every decision has a consequence, whether positive or negative. The consequence of not studying for the exam was a much lower grade than she expected. As a consequence of the company's poor financial management, many employees were laid off. Here's the IPA of the word consequence. Imitate after me in the pauses. Consequence. Da-da-da. Consequence. Da da da. Let's hear how other native speakers use this word in conversations.
And ought to have the right to do that. And so a liberal view stresses the possibility of individual freedom and the power of the individual to become something particular, while the conservative stresses the fact that we're embedded. Now, of course, we are both things, but the consequence of this is you get two kinds of political theory.
Living in poverty as isolated from the mainstream of American life and alienated from its values. People living in poverty were them, not us. And poverty itself was understood to be an anomaly, an aberration, a deviation from the norm. As a consequence, part of the mission of the Great Society was to try to incorporate them into mainstream institutions and culture.
Development policy, and we've transformed the way we do business. We changed how we measure development, not just by the dollars we invest, although we still invest a lot of dollars, but by whether people and nations are actually better off as a consequence of those investments.
Here is word number 3. I'll give you a few minutes to answer these questions. This word is cohesive. Cohesive describes something that holds together well. Her essay was clear and cohesive, with each point building on the last. The team's efforts were cohesive, resulting in a well-executed project that impressed the clients. A cohesive design strategy ensures that all branding materials align with the company's image and message. Here's the IPA of the word cohesive. Imitate after me in the pauses. Cohesive. Da-da-da. Cohesive. Da-da-da. Let's hear how other native speakers use this word in conversations.
Research also shows that individuals living in socially cohesive communities, or at least those with strong social connections, have better health outcomes than those who are more socially isolated.
Once you got yourself a relatively smooth paste, we're going to let that sit for 10 minutes, after which time the corn flour should have hydrated and it'll look exactly the same. But now we can start paying attention to its texture. We want it to be able to hold together but still be a little crumbly. If that's where it's at, we're going to add 1 ounce of soft unsalted butter and 2.5 ounces of shredded Oaxaca or low moisture mozzarella cheese. Then we got to knead this guy together for about 5 minutes. Since there is no gluten to develop in corn flour, I don't really know exactly what's happening here, but you should find that the dough comes together into one smeary, cohesive, not too sticky ball.
So making sure you ask the right questions is crucial. Finally, and most importantly, research shows that one of the best ways to mitigate the bystander effect is to build a shared social identity. It's not about policing each other. It's not about calling each other out. It's about being a cohesive unit. We are in this together.
Here is word number 4. I'll give you a few minutes to answer these questions. This word is substantiate. Substantiate means to provide evidence to support or prove a claim. He couldn't substantiate his argument with any data. The lawyer provided documents to substantiate her client's claims in court. The researcher conducted experiments to substantiate the theory proposed in her paper. Here's the IPA of the word substantiate. Imitate after me in the pauses. Substantiate. Da-da-da-da. Substantiate. Da-da-da-da. Let's hear how other native speakers use this word in conversations.
In 3 years, what's happening now?
Well, I think the analysis has advanced a lot, and they've been able to identify what they using what they call biomarkers, certain specific patterns in the brain that are associated with certain types of pain, and they've also been able to much more strongly substantiate brain patterns associated with chronic pain.
Are you annoyed by those permanent critics during the Republican debate? I mean,
no, primarily because we hear a lot of overheated rhetoric, but not a lot of facts to substantiate it.
It's possible Trump was confusing a number he quotes often on the campaign trail, which is poverty rates for African-American children. But we can't find anything to substantiate this claim of so much poverty in the African-American community. Gwen, Judy?
Here is word number 5. I'll give you a few minutes to answer these questions. This word is alleviate. Alleviate means to make something less severe or to relieve pain or suffering. The medicine helped to alleviate her symptoms. They implemented new policies to alleviate the stress caused by heavy workloads. A warm bath can help alleviate muscle tension after a long day. Here's the IPA of the word alleviate. Imitate after me in the pauses. Alleviate. Da-da-da-da. Alleviate. Da-da-da-da. Let's hear how other native speakers use this word in conversations.
Well, this is a very personal and important issue to me because, as you know, I started out my work as a lawyer for the Children's Defense Fund, and I have been focused on child poverty and what we can do to alleviate it for a very long time.
We're also taking a look at the new Warlock Tiles Easy Clips. The original clips work just fine and are extremely sturdy, but depending on the method you use to connect two tiles, they could be a little rough on the fingertips. These alternate clips promise to alleviate that particular problem.
Sensitivity and respect. If you embrace the truth that you are forever a student with an open mind, limitless curiosity, and relentless desire to use your skills and knowledge to alleviate suffering, to improve people's lives, and to make the world better, you will be great doctors.
Here is word number 6. I'll give you a few minutes to answer these questions. This word is nuance. Nuance means a subtle difference in meaning, expression, or sound. The translator captured every nuance of the original text. Understanding the cultural nuances of language can greatly improve communication between people from different backgrounds. Her argument had a lot of nuance, showing that she considered all aspects of the issue before forming her opinion. Here's the IPA of the word nuance. Imitate after me in the pauses. Nuance. Dada. Nuance. Dada. Let's hear how other native speakers use this word in conversations.
People sometimes use the word ironic to describe situations that are maybe just unfortunate or coincidental, a free ride when you've already paid, or even the good advice that you just didn't take. So I actually sympathize with the desire to complain about at least some of these usages. Sometimes there's a shade of nuance or meaning that feels important and useful and like it's being watered down or like it's being lost.
Reasons that I suspect exist, but that's where I feel like social media just doesn't get the nuance, and you know, it pains me to see the world like that.
Many human traits, like height, follow a normal distribution. Some people are very tall or very short, but most people fall close to the overall average. Outside of statistics, normal often refers to an average, like the single number pulled from the fattest part of the bell curve that eliminates all the nuance of the normal distribution.
Here is word number 7. I'll give you a few minutes to answer these questions. This word is prevalent. Prevalent means widespread or commonly occurring. This belief is prevalent in many cultures around the world. Smoking was much more prevalent in the past, but health campaigns have significantly reduced its occurrence. Social media use is particularly prevalent among younger generations. Here's the IPA of the word prevalent. Imitate after me in the pauses. Prevalent. Da-da-da. Prevalent. Da-da-da. Let's hear how other native speakers use this word in conversations.
And in turn, we've made steady strides on certain fronts, but in general, our approach has not been that environmental factors are prevalent in contributing to how we die.
But I was still an outsider. I needed to go deeper. So I took the job as a sanitation worker. I didn't just ride in the trucks, now I drove the trucks. And I operated the mechanical brooms, and I plowed the snow. It was a remarkable privilege and an amazing education. Everyone asks about the smell. It's there, but it's not as prevalent as you think.
Manual of Mental Disorders, someone with dependent personality disorder possesses an excessive and pervasive need to be taken care of that leads to submissive, clingy, needy behavior due to a fear of abandonment. One study estimated that up to 20% of the population may possess this disorder, making it one of the most prevalent personality disorders, and it is known to be linked with domestic abuse.
Here is word number 8. I'll give you a few minutes to answer these questions. This word is diligent. Diligent means showing care and conscientiousness in one's work or duties. She was a diligent student, always completing her assignments ahead of time and with great attention to detail. The diligent worker earned praise from his boss for consistently delivering high-quality results. To succeed in a competitive field, one must be both talented and diligent in pursuing their goals. Here's the IPA of the word diligent. Imitate after me in the pauses. diligent, da-da-da, diligent, da-da-da. Let's hear how other native speakers use this word in conversations.
Has it shifted for you over your career? So for example, for me, when I sit down at the blank page for this show, I've written you, I'm working on, putting the finishing touches on my book. The thing is kicking my ass from here to Sunday. It's like, and I consider myself an extremely hard worker, very diligent, overcome that resistance, but it's like, it doesn't seem to get easier.
Committee telling you about the amendments that have been.
There's been a lot of wonderful headway, and I want to give a lot of credit to the entire committee. Hats off to Representative Robin Wise, who's a Republican from Herdsfield, North Dakota. He has been there a long time, chair of the committee, has truly been diligent in his work and worked with.
What do I think AI is and the possibilities of it are? Since I've been making fun of it, it's only fair. I think artificial intelligence right now is in the same position as alchemy was in the 17th century. Alchemists have a bad rap. We think of them as being mystics, as not doing a lot of experimental science, but research has shown that they were actually extremely diligent. They used, in some cases, modern scientific techniques.
Here's word number 9. I'll give you a few minutes to answer these questions. This word is inevitable. Inevitable means something is certain to happen or something is unavoidable. Failure was inevitable without proper preparation. As the dark clouds gathered, it became clear that rain was inevitable. Aging is an inevitable part of life, but staying active can help maintain health and vitality. Here's the IPA of the word inevitable. Notice how the T becomes the flap in this word. Imitate after me in the pauses. Inevitable. Da-da-da-da-da. Inevitable. Da-da-da-da-da. Let's hear how other native speakers use this word in conversations.
Thus, multitudinous creatures living and dying on an old planet leave behind immense numbers of fossils, each one a small miracle, but collectively inevitable.
I know. But that wasn't true for everyone. People who spent time caring for others showed absolutely no stress-related increase in dying, 0. Caring created resilience. And so we see once again that the harmful effects of stress on your health are not inevitable.
There's another problem. 40% of those never end up seeing the light of day. They are completely scrapped or abandoned. Now, this is a very existentially painful moment for any organization, because it means as government continues to operate as it's programmed to do, failure is nearly inevitable.
Here's word number 10. I'll give you a few minutes to answer these questions. This word is mitigate. Mitigate means to make something less severe, serious, or painful. The government implemented new policies to mitigate the effects of the economic downturn. Installing proper drainage systems can help mitigate the risk of flooding in the area. To mitigate the damage caused by the mistake, the company offered compensation to affected customers. Here's the IPA of the word mitigate. Notice how the first T becomes the flap in this word. Imitate after me in the pauses. Mitigate. Da-da-da. Mitigate. Da-da-da. Let's hear how other native speakers use this word in conversations.
Lifting people up who are starving and need us today, those are distractions. We need to come together around the best ways to mitigate poverty using the best tools at our disposal, and that comes only when conservatives recognize that they need liberals in their obsession with poverty.
60 million lives from measles and malaria and tuberculosis. We've slashed HIV/AIDS infections and deaths. Across the developing world, incomes have gone up. Tens of millions of boys and girls are in school. Millions have gained access to clean energy, helping to mitigate the threat of climate change.
I'm incredibly irresponsible and have poor email hygiene. Awkward. Anyway, you get the point. Reflective processing refers to the ability to reflect on your experiences and how they relate to you and your self-image. Why is it useful to know these? For starters, they can help you identify the best way to mitigate negative emotions or enhance positive ones.
Here's word number 11. I'll give you a few minutes to answer these questions. This word is sophisticated. Sophisticated means having a refined knowledge or complexity in thought, style, or systems. Her sophisticated analysis impressed everyone in the room. The restaurant's menu was incredibly sophisticated, offering a fusion of international flavors and unique ingredients. The software is so sophisticated that it can analyze complex data sets in just a few seconds. Here's the IPA of the word sophisticated. Notice how the second T becomes the flap in this word. Imitate after me in the pauses. Sophisticated. Da-da-da-da-da. Sophisticated. Da-da-da-da-da. Let's hear how other native speakers use this word in conversations.
It's hard to make this sweeping generalization that vaccines are all good or vaccines are all bad. I'm sure there are lots of instances where vaccines clearly, empirically, have proven to be great. There are probably also instances where vaccines are not that great. I think there can be I think that we are all hopefully sophisticated enough that we can hold two seemingly contradictory ideas in our heads in a dialectic and work towards like a complicated sort of synthesis between these two ideas.
Never seen as restricted a budget in the federal government as I have today. And this is particularly frustrating because in the last 5 to 10 years, a revolution has taken place in science and medicine. We've mined the human genome. We can visualize organs and tissues with astonishing clarity. We were never able to do that. We handle big data. We do sophisticated molecular imaging. All of these advances now allow us to really move forward.
In those rules, wow, we are missing that today. You know, can you get a group of experts that are weighing in on these things? You don't really want the profit motive involved, but you want, you know, expertise and capacity. And so, you know, a few years from now, I hope we're more sophisticated on how that line should be drawn.
And here is the 12th essential vocabulary word. I'll give you a few minutes to answer these questions. This word is eloquent. Eloquent means being able to use language to express ideas or opinions clearly and well, so that they have a strong effect on others. The speaker was so eloquent that the audience hung on every word. Her eloquent writing style made even complex topics easy to understand and engaging to read. He gave an eloquent response during the debate, effectively conveying his point of view with clarity and grace. Here's the IPA of the word eloquent. Imitate after me in the pauses. Eloquent. Da-da-da. Eloquent. Da-da-da. Let's hear how other native speakers use this word in conversations.
Steve Jobs had this classic line, which was sort of, Hollywood doesn't understand Silicon Valley doesn't understand Hollywood. I'm sure it was more eloquent than what I just said, but the idea was,
find a piece of property that you imagine, rightly or wrongly, possesses the possibility of expressing terroir. Now, it's a little bit tautological. What is terroir? Terroir is a sense of place. Okay, well, every place then expresses a sense of place. By definition, not all places are as interesting or as expressive or as eloquent as others.
Is there advice you would give to the new advocate, or maybe even the experienced advocate? I think to all of them, I agree with Justice Millett, listen and be prepared. I don't care how eloquent you are, nothing takes the place for being prepared.
So, how did you do? How well did you know these words, know how to pronounce these words, and know how to correctly use these words in your speech and writing? If some of these words were new to you, then that's great. You have a wonderful opportunity to learn them and focus on incorporating them into your daily conversations. Mastering these words, along with their correct usage, will reflect a strong and sophisticated command of the English language, showing not only advanced vocabulary, but also precision in communication. If you're looking for more in-depth guidance and coaching on your American English skills, then I'd be happy to work with you in English Pro, my online accent training program. You'll receive training in all areas of the American accent, including the pronunciation of important vocabulary words like these in this video. Plus, you can attend weekly live English classes and work with me one-on-one in the class. Check out the description for links to learn more about English Pro. Don't forget that I also have a free Sounds of American English guidebook, where you'll learn how to pronounce every sound of American English with audio recordings, pictures, MRIs, IPA charts, and more. It's a fantastic free resource that will really help boost your American English pronunciation skills. So check out the links in the description below. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more pronunciation tips. That's a fantastic, no-cost way that you can show your support and let me know that you liked this video and want me to make more just like it. You can also leave a comment below to let me know what techniques have helped you with your English vocabulary skills, and I'll be sure to cover them in future videos. Keep practicing, and I'll see you next time.